If you've ever wondered about the levels of greed of the owners of the National Football League, this most recent proposal that they have made impacting the preseason and the regular season should tell you all that you need to know. Basically, what they're doing is putting out a proposal that says we want to expand the season, the regular season, to 18 games. And we know they're going to push for this. They've been pushing for it. They're going to continue to push for it because ultimately it's all about revenue and wanting to make more money. And fundamentally, I don't have a problem with that. As a fan, could be a different story, but fundamentally, looking at it objectively, from a business standpoint, why, let's say as a team owner, get only 8 regular season games worth of home team revenue when you can get 9? Not to mention that you could charge vastly more for a regular season game than you can a preseason game. On that premise and that premise alone, it makes a vast amount of sense. And I would anticipate someday, eventually the league is going to go to 18 games. It's an inevitability. Doesn't mean it's right now or a year or two. Could be 3 years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. But it's going to happen someday. So we might as well just get ready for it. But this proposal that the owners have put forward speaks to the level of ridiculous greed that they have. They want to eliminate 2 preseason games, to expand the regular season to 18 games from the current model of 16, which, if you think about it, if you're only going to have 1 bye week, means 19 weeks of regular season. So you're going to want to have at least 1 bye week in there. And if you're going to want to have 2 bye weeks in there because of the extra amount of games, you're talking about a 20-week regular season. That either means that the regular season is going to have to start at the middle to end of August, or it's going to carry through to the damn middle plus of January. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Imagine how much of a challenge you would have selling tickets to a fan base in mid-January to go watch, let's say if a Bills team was 4-11 and riding out the string their last game of the year at home, or the Bears at Soldier Field, or the Packers at Lambeau Field, any of these other cold weather cities. Like, am I missing something here? But they want to take 2 preseason games, replace them with 2 regular season games. But here's the kicker. They want to put in a limit where players are only allowed to play 16 out of those 18 games. So basically what you want to do here, let's get this straight, NFL owners. You want to take 2 preseason games, roll them up into the regular season, and that's exactly what you're doing. By sitting there and saying the players can only play a maximum of 16 games as opposed to the actual full-length season of 18, you're either creating 2 regular season games that are glorified preseason games because teams are going to sit a bunch of people, or you're having 2 regular season games each season where your biggest stars don't play. Imagine being a season ticket holder and, of course, knowing that you're going to stick it to them by charging them a whole hell of a lot more for this extra home game, and you sit there and you're a season ticket holder of the Packers or the Patriots or the Saints or any number of teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, as a big marquee star at the quarterback position, but instead of going to Lambeau Field in December to sit there and watch Aaron fucking Rodgers, who might have been a reason that you wanted to go see the Packers in person because you want to experience him while he's still in the league, you got to go watch Deshaun fucking Kaiser instead. The Cleveland Browns, for example. You don't get to watch Baker Mayfield in one of the home games. How stupid is this? Or worse off, or just as bad at least, you sit there and sabotage 2 of the road games so that way it could potentially negatively impact somebody else's ability to generate maximum revenue for their home games. Like, what the fuck is this? Imagine an idea where you're going to sit there and basically say 2 games a season, you're not going to have the starting quarterback out there. Oh, that's bound to be successful. It's one of the reasons why the American Alliance of Football, whatever the fuck it was called, didn't last a full season. Because of things such as, not exclusively, but partially due to crappy quarterback play. XFL back in the day didn't succeed because of crappy quarterback play. Sure, there are other factors and other reasons, but there's a big reason that those leagues don't just succeed because their passing games stink because the quarterbacks stink. And now you're basically trying to trot this out there And this abortion of an idea to sit there and say 2 games a year, you have to be forced to play your backup quarterback. Not to mention teams that might have other stars. Imagine being a fan of the Houston Texans and not being able to throw J.J. Watt out there for a key game. Or the Bears with Khalil Mack, or the Rams with fucking Aaron Donald, and the Arizona Cardinals with David Johnson, and so many other things. Or imagine in Larry Fitzgerald's swan song in the NFL that you bought tickets to see the Cardinals on the road for one reason, to be able to say you saw Larry Fitzgerald in person, and then you turn around and find out he's not fucking playing because he only played 16 games. And the whole crux of this is not about player safety, and the owners are going to spin it that way. And if you believe that, you're a fool, a moron, because it's a crock of shit. This is their way to get more revenue by conning the fans out of throwing in 2 more regular season games, one of which every owner will get an additional home game, even though throughout the course of the season you could have a lessened level of play. All the while, by restricting the players to only play 16 games, you're trying to create a situation where they can argue they don't have to pay the players any more goddamn money because you're not playing any more games here. And think about it this way: if we did 2 bye weeks for an 18-game season, they got 4 weeks during 20 that they don't have to play. We're actually looking out for that bullshit. And you know, in the grand scheme of things, you might say, well, what's a big idea? It doesn't really impact you. Well, I'll tell you what. I still live for my football. I still love my football. And in a couple of years, when there's going to be a fucking lockout or a massive ugly strike, and it's coming, people, it's coming. It's going to be because of bullshit like this that the owners try to pound through. It's because of bullshit like this. This is not a negotiating point. This is not a negotiating tactic where they reach for the moon and then they pull it back. They're legitimately going to go after this. They think this is a good idea. It is a good idea for them because of greedy motherfuckers. Greed is one thing, but greed for the sake of greed to this level of selfishness is foolishness and is ultimately going to cost the league and its owners a shit ton of money. In a couple of years, you're already going to have a really, really, really bad, long, drawn-out fight with the collective bargaining agreement with the players' union. At this point in time, it makes me wonder if they're going to sit there and hope the XFL sticks around long enough so where they can bring those guys in as fucking scab players. That's how greedy these goddamn NFL owners are. And what amazes me is how many fans always take the sides of the owners in these major sports, especially the NFL. Or in the business world, they'll sit there and criticize CEOs that way too goddamn much to do way too damn little. But in the NFL, it's okay. I wonder what the fuck the difference is. You're going to cap the players at 16 games solely so that way you can make more revenue ripping off the damn fans, ripping off your fucking television partners, ripping off the fucking advertisers, and everybody else is going to get the short end of the stick and is going to get the shaft. When the players strike in a couple of years and you lose games and potentially a regular season and potentially a playoffs and potentially, worst of all, a fucking Super Bowl, don't be crying and sitting back and wondering what the hell happened. It's crap like this that goes too far that shows that the time for these players to actually unite and battle against this foolishness has come. Can you imagine that? Ooh, you get an extra home game. We could charge season ticket holders more. That means we could get more corporate money. It means we can sit there and negotiate bigger contracts with our television partners. We could get even more money from the advertisers. Let's play the Super Bowl in late fucking February! And all the while, the players are still getting paid the same goddamn money they were before. What a crock of crap.